Hello, everyone. Welcome back to English Unleashed. Today, I'm going to talk about something very important for your English speaking. I'm going to talk about your brain. Yes, your brain. Because real English speaking does not start in your mouth. Fluency does not start in your mouth. It starts in your mind. Many English learners know a lot of words. They know many grammar rules. They can read English texts. They can understand English videos. But when they want to speak, something strange happens. They stop. They hesitate. They become silent. They feel that their brain is slow. They feel that English is locked inside their head. If this sounds familiar, you are not alone. And the good news is this. The problem is not your intelligence. The problem is not your memory. The problem is not even your vocabulary. The problem is that your brain has not learned how to think in English automatically. In this episode, I will show you how to train your brain for automatic English speech. That means speaking English without translating in your head. That means speaking English without panic. That means speaking English more naturally and more smoothly. We will talk about 4 powerful ideas. We will talk about inner speech, speech inside your head. We will talk about narration. We will talk about mental rehearsal. Rehearsal means practice. And we will talk about thought labeling. Don't worry about these names. They may sound academic or difficult, but I will explain everything in simple and clear English. And you will see that these techniques are easy. They are practical, and you can start using them today. So, let's begin with something very simple. Let me ask you a question. When you are alone, do you talk to yourself? Maybe not loudly, but inside your mind. Do you sometimes say things like, "I'm tired," or "I need to hurry," or "What should I eat today?" This is called inner speech. Inner speech means the voice inside your head. It is the language you use when you think. Many people think in their first language. If your first language is Russian, you probably think in Russian. If your first language is Spanish, you probably think in Spanish. If your first language is Portuguese, you probably think in Portuguese. This is natural. But here's the problem. If you always think in your first language, then when you want to speak English, you must translate. You first think in Spanish. Then you translate to English. This creates stress, and this breaks fluency. Automatic English speech happens when your inner speech becomes English. That means when the voice inside your head slowly changes from your first language to English. And this does not happen in one day. It is a process. It takes time, but it is a very powerful process. Now, let me give you a simple example. Imagine you wake up in the morning. You look at the clock. It is 7 o'clock. You usually think something like, oh no, I'm late. And you do this in your own language. Now, try to say this in English inside your head. Say, oh no, I'm late. Do not say it out loud. Just say it silently. This is already training your inner speech. When you make coffee, instead of thinking in your language, try to think in English. You can say inside your mind, I am making coffee, or the water is hot, or I need more sugar. These are very small sentences, very simple sentences, but they are extremely powerful. Why? Because your brain is learning to connect real life with English directly, not through translation, but through experience. When you think in English during daily activities, your brain slowly builds new paths. These paths help English become more automatic. At first, this feels strange. Your brain may feel tired. You may forget words. You may go back to your language. This is normal. Do not fight it. Just gently return to English. You do not need to be perfect. You do not need long sentences. You just need simple English thoughts. Now let's talk about something closely connected to inner speech. This is narration. Narration means telling a story. But here, it means telling the story of your own life in English. You can narrate what you are doing. You can narrate what you are seeing. You can narrate what you are planning. For example, imagine you are walking in the street. You can say in your mind, I'm walking to the bus stop. The street is busy today. I can hear cars. I can see people. This is narration. You are describing your world in English. You are turning your life into an English story. This is one of the strongest ways to train your brain for automatic English speech. Why? Because you are using English for meaning, not for exercise. You are not doing a grammar test. You are not filling gaps. You are using English to understand and describe your reality. This makes your brain love English more because the brain loves meaning. The brain loves real use. Let me tell you something important. You do not need a partner for this. You do not need a teacher. You do not need a classroom. You only need your life. Your life is your best English textbook. When you cook, narrate in English. When you clean, narrate in English. When you travel, narrate in English. When you feel happy or tired or angry, narrate in English. For example, you can say, I feel tired today, but I need to work. Or, this music is relaxing. Or, I'm worried about tomorrow. Slowly, your brain stops seeing English as a school subject. It starts seeing English as a thinking tool. This is the moment when automatic speech begins. Now let's connect this to speaking. Many learners say, I understand English, but I cannot speak. Very often, this is because they do not think in English. If you think in English, speaking becomes easier because speaking is only saying what you already thought. Let me say that again. Speaking is only saying what you already thought. So, inner speech and narration are not only for thinking, they are direct training for speaking. Let us now slow down and practice something together. Where are you right now? Maybe you are at home. Maybe you are on a bus. Maybe you are walking. Try to say one sentence in English about your situation. You can say, I'm listening to a podcast, or I'm sitting on a chair, or I'm walking and listening. Say it slowly in your mind. Do not rush. Feel the sentence. Now add one more sentence. For example, I feel calm, or I want to improve my English, or this voice is clear. This is inner speech. This is narration, and this is training your brain. Do not worry about mistakes. Mistakes are part of training. Even native speakers make mistakes when they speak. What matters is that you are using English in your mind. Now, before we move to the next part, I want to say something very important. You do not become fluent by only listening. You do not become fluent by only reading. You become fluent when your brain starts using English automatically. Inner speech and narration are like bridges. They connect understanding to speaking. Okay, now we will move to another powerful idea. This idea is called mental rehearsal. Mental rehearsal means practicing something in your mind before doing it in real life. Athletes use mental rehearsal. Musicians use mental rehearsal. And language learners can use mental rehearsal too. Let me explain this with a simple example. Imagine that tomorrow you want to speak English with someone. Maybe with a colleague, maybe with a friend, maybe in a shop or in a cafe. Very often, learners feel nervous before speaking. They think, what if I forget my words? They think, what if I make mistakes? They think, what if the other person does not understand me? Mental rehearsal helps you reduce this fear. Before the real conversation happens, you can play it in your mind. For example, imagine you are ordering coffee in English. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the scene. You see the cafe. You see the person behind the counter. Now, imagine yourself speaking. You can say in your mind, "Hello, can I have a coffee, please?" Then, imagine the person answering. Maybe they say, "Sure, what kind?" Then you answer, "A black coffee, please." You are not speaking out loud. but your brain is practicing the conversation. This is very important because your brain does not clearly separate imagination from reality. When you imagine something clearly, your brain learns from it. So, when the real situation happens, your brain feels more prepared. It feels familiar. It feels less scary. Mental rehearsal also helps your brain become faster in English because you are building ready-made sentences and reactions. Instead of thinking, translating, and searching for words in real time, your brain says, I have seen this before. And then English comes out more easily. Let me give you another example. Imagine you want to talk about your job in English. You can rehearse this in your mind. You can say, I work as a teacher, or I work in an office, or I'm a student. Then you can imagine someone asking, what do you do exactly? And you answer, I teach English, or I work with computers, or I study engineering. You can repeat this mental conversation many times. Each time, it becomes smoother. Each time, your brain becomes more comfortable with English. This is like practicing a song before singing it on stage. Mental rehearsal is especially powerful because you can do it anywhere. You can do it on the bus. You can do it before sleep. You can do it while walking. You do not need a partner. You do not need a teacher. You only need your mind. Okay, thank you so much for listening to English Unleashed. If you enjoyed this episode, and if you want more episodes like this, let me know. And remember, do not only learn English, train your brain to live in English. Until next time, keep thinking, keep speaking, and keep unleashing your English. Bye for now.